Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we revel and celebrate in romanticism through art, storytelling, nature, music, poetry, creating, and bum passionate people doing great things. Hello, I'm Trebenezer Scrooge. Hi, I'm Trey, and I am joined by my forever podcast host, the ghost of Christmas candy, otherwise known as Emily. Hi, Emily. um, bah humbug. Candy. So tonight, today, we just want to call out one thing that this is the extra festive edition of the Modern Romantic Podcast. You'll notice that we're streaming normally on Monday nights, but we have a very extra special guest with us here. So I would actually like to pass this off to Emily. And Emily, would you like to introduce our guest tonight? Uh-oh.
Yes, I would. Now that I fixed my microphone issue. Um, apparently they couldn't hear me before. Sorry about that. Tonight or today, it's usually we record at night, and so it feels weird that the sun is out. Today we have an amazing artist who is an artist and also a tattoo artist. And he wrote a really cool children's book called Diego the Doodling Dinosaur that's available on Amazon in several countries. I present to you Scott Mitchell. Yay!
Thank you. What an introduction. Brilliant. I didn't know we were doing Christmas names. I could have got involved in that. You know, I like the Trace of Ebenezer Scrooge and the Ghost of Christmas Candy. It's perfect.
We can change your name if you'd like.
But I don't. I'll need to think of one. Or if you've got one for me.
If you think of one, we can. Here, I'll at least put Diego Dinosaur. Because on Instagram, that's your book, right?
Yeah.
There.
Perfect.
So now everybody can go follow you.
I'll try and come up with a Christmas one when we're talking, right? It'll come to me.
It'll come to you, right?
The Christmasaurus. There you go.
I like
that. Wait. That's already a book, I think. I've got that to somewhere. That must already be a book. Christmasaurus. It's an idea that just came into my head. I'm like, that must be from something. It might be somebody else's book.
Maybe I'll do Christmasaurus. I'll do that. Is that okay?
Let's go for it. Yeah, that's fine.
There, Christmasaurus. That's awesome. I love it. So you are with us in Scotland.
Yep.
What part of Scotland are you in?
I am in Kincardine at the moment because I'm at my tattoo studio at the moment. It's halfway between Edinburgh and Glasgow. So that's like the two cities, big major cities in Scotland. So it's like halfway between each of them. That's what I would say. So I'm here right now, and it's 6 p.m. here. And it is still pitch dark though, so it feels like it's really late at night now.
Right.
But, heart of the winter, being in December.
The time change is hard when it gets dark earlier.
I know. It's terrible. You wake up and it's dark, and then you drive home after you've been tattooing all day or working, and it's dark as well. So it's just it's a bit. Didn't see the sunshine at all. No outside anymore.
Right. Not unless it's your day off.
That's it. Yep.
All I have to say is God bless vitamin D. Otherwise, I would get no sunlight.
Agreed, me as well.
And
Scotland's the worst for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
Sorry, I'm saying Scotland's the worst for it. There's barely any sunshine ever.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And I have been to Scotland once. It was mostly in Edinburgh. And I remember we landed from the plane in Heathrow and then took a train up the coast, which was so amazing. That was one of the coolest parts of the trip, because as you're going along the countryside in a train, and the tracks are so smooth, it's amazing. You can't tell you're on a train. And I had music playing and we're riding along and watching the countryside go by. And every now and then you see like, a farm with sheep, and then you see, boom, a castle. And then you see regular houses and nice rolling countryside. It's beautiful. Sometimes you get to see the ocean and the coast. But then boom, a castle. And then boom, another castle. And it was like, here we don't really have that. So it was amazing to see that. That was so gorgeous though. I loved that trip. I'm dying to go back. But you've been here too,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, I've been to America. Yep, I've been to America a couple times. I got married in America, funny enough. So me and my wife got married in Las Vegas. So that's kind of what happened at first when coming back to America first kind of came about for me. But me and my wife, we got married in Vegas, and then I came back myself and I tattooed in Vegas, and then I've been to LA and I've tattooed in LA and stuff like that as well. But yeah, America's a great place. Like it's especially Vegas. Let's just say that Vegas is something else. Yeah, I don't know. Have you been to Vegas before? Obviously, I mean, I know. I bet a lot of people from America have been to Vegas. So,
I don't know. Have you been to Vegas, Trey?
I did, but I didn't really get the full experience because I was 10. It was a family vacation, and very quick side tangent. We happened to pass by a big sign that was advertising one of the shows with some like dancers in it, and it said covered show at 7, uncovered show at 9. And I had to politely ask my mom like what that meant, and I was like, why would they have an uncovered show? Like, what if it rains? Thinking that they were talking about the roof. So very innocent Trey. So the last
innocent,
time I went,
so innocent, so innocent, so naive, brilliant.
And I've been to Vegas a few times. We used to have to. There were manager meetings I had to be part of, and they thought it was fun to have these meetings in Vegas, and it was an interesting and entertaining combination of people who were there to see the sights and kind of just be awed by some of it and eat the food, and then there were others that were there to get in trouble.
Yeah,
that
sounds a bit right.
I was in the former group that did not get in trouble.
A good girl.
I tried.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry.
It's some place, it's a crazy place, it's amazing. It's an amazing place, but it's got everything for everybody, I would say. If you're into anything. I mean, like when it comes to Vegas, I don't drink, I don't take drugs, I would say like on paper I'm probably quite boring compared to some people, but I still love Vegas. I love the people in Vegas. They're amazing. They're so happy, man. It's like an adult paradise. It's just like everybody's there having fun. Everybody speaks to you, which is it's kind of strange, right? Like if I was to get in an elevator here in Scotland, like nobody would say hi to anybody. But when you go to Vegas, everybody's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" Like all the time, and it's like that's my terrible American accent, by the way. But everybody's so happy, Everybody's so happy all the time, which is always really nice, and it's quite strange for me to go somewhere like that and everybody be so happy all the time.
What
must be because it's sunny. It must be because it's sunny all the time.
I thought about I don't know if I noticed that difference when I went to Vegas, but I wonder if maybe it was that way and I just didn't notice. I don't know.
California's like that as well, though, right? Like everybody's happy all the time. Everybody's happy. When I went anyway, it seemed that way.
I'm going to have to put some thought into that because I wonder if that's just normal for me because I see it all the time. Or if, because maybe it's just a perception, we live it every day, so it's not out of the ordinary.
Take it for granted.
We don't feel happy all the time. But what brought you to Vegas, though? What made you decide to go there?
Well, in terms of, do you mean in terms of tattooing? I take it is that we.
Or getting married, both, all of it.
Well, we'll get married. Getting married. It's one of these things, like obviously I met my wife and everything like that, and I suppose it started off as a joke. We would be like, oh, we'll just get married in Vegas. We'll just get married in Vegas because over here, like, it's quite a big show and dance when you get married here in Scotland. Like, it's quite a big deal. You have to get everybody together. You have to have like a million guests. Like everything like that. So we weren't really the type of people. So we kind of thought we'll just go do it like on a smaller scale. And it was just like I said, it was actually more like a joke at first. We'll just get married in Vegas. We'll just get married in Vegas, and then eventually we just kind of looked into it and we thought, why not? It'd be great. And then we obviously invited like our closest family and went over kind of thing, and that was a great experience. It was a great experience, and we went to like, it was like the traditional kind of like chapel that you would go to. You could hire Elvis and all that kind of stuff, but we never done that. But it was quite fun to experience that. Like in terms of weddings, like weddings go on for a full day. Normally here, they go on for a full day, but our wedding was over in like 20 minutes.
Right.
Really, really quick, and that was it. And then we just kind of went to the casinos and stuff like that. It was just a really fun day. It wasn't like the stressful kind of thing, which I think that was the appeal in doing it in Vegas, was to have it a bit less stress free, and it was more like a holiday, I suppose. And
right.
Yeah, that's kind of the first reason I went. The second reason would obviously be for the tattoo side of things. So that was, I think that was maybe about a year later, maybe 9 months later, maybe. And I got in touch with a guy that lives in Vegas called Bobby Blood. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's like a director, and he's like a writer and a drummer for a band called First Blood. I think it's like a kind of punk band.
Okay.
And I ended up speaking to him, and we were talking just over Instagram, and we were just talking, and I think that I had mentioned, I was like, oh, I love Vegas, like it was one of my favorite places to visit and stuff like that. And then he turned around and said to me, he was like, oh, Scotland was my favorite place that I've ever visited when I've been on tour with the band and everything like that. And we just started talking, and it was that kind of way where he just said, he goes, so when are you coming over? He goes, when are you coming over to work at my shop, my tattoo shop? And I was like, oh, right. And then at first I was like, oh, he's probably just saying that to be nice, And then we just kind of left it. And then we ended up speaking again a wee bit later. And he said, he was like, so when are you coming? When are you booking your flight? And I was like, oh, this guy's really serious. I was like, so, I just thought, well, that's an opportunity, and I didn't want to say no to any opportunity, so we'll just go for it. And I ended up booking the flights, and he has a shop in the downtown part of Vegas. So it's like, have you ever watched Pawn Stars on the TV?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Yep. So his shop's like right across the road from that place. So it was definitely fun, like a lot of fun Vegas stories with tattooing there, and it's quite like it was definitely just a different change of pace for me, because my studio in Scotland is like a small studio. It's just me that's here. I don't really work with anybody or anything like that. It's kind of private based, if you will, custom kind of stuff. And then in Vegas, it's very walk-in, so you get a lot of walk-ins and a lot of people just coming in off the street to get tattooed. So it made it quite fun, and there was really nice people who worked there, and they were very welcoming, and it was just really fun. It was I really enjoyed it. Like I thought, oh, this is definitely for me. This like coming over and working in the sunshine and having all the crazy stories that went with it. It was, especially being in that part of Vegas. I mean, the Graceland Wedding Chapel was right across like directly across the road from it. So you would always see something happening. You would always see somebody getting married. Like there was like two old dudes like in their like 80s getting married on a motorcycle outside, like just in the middle of the day, and like getting married by Elvis, like, and then you would be standing outside the shop between like tattoos, and there would be like a marching band come down the street, and everybody's dressed up as chickens, just randomly, and they're like, just gone down the street, and it was just crazy, man. Like you would get people that would come in and get tattooed, and they would just bring in like pythons, like snakes and stuff, like all the crazy stuff that happened that week when I was there. I've not seen that amount of craziness in my shop in Scotland in the 11 years I've tattooed here. Like it was just crazy, like all this crazy fun stuff. And yeah, it was definitely an experience. And there was like a bail bonds place next door as well, so you got a lot of like crazy people coming out for jail, and they would come in and use the phone in the tattoo shop and everything like that, so it was always funny, let's put it that way. There was always some crazy thing going down, yeah.
Never a dull moment.
So
Never a dull moment. No, in Vegas,
Yeah.
anyway.
So talking about like tattooing and that you eventually got to Las Vegas to be in a work in a tattoo shop there, how did you actually get started with tattooing?
Well, tattooing, I mean, you're talking. I started tattooing in 2008, and I'm a self-taught artist. I would say probably like, and I mean, I opened my shop pretty early on. I was like in 2012, I think I opened my shop. So I've been here for, what would that be? That'd be like 11 years or something. So I've been here for
Awesome.
quite a while. But um, I got my first professional tattoo when I was 18. First professional one, I say. I got tattooed before that unprofessionally. So, which I do not recommend to anybody. It's not a good idea. But I got my first professional tattoo when I was 18, and I kind of seen how things were done, like from the drawing, the stenciling, the setting up, the sterilization, the machines, even like the laying out of the composition and getting tattooed, everything like that. It took me right away. It was like, I mean, I always kind of describe it to people like it's like when you fall in love with somebody for the first time. It's actually that intense. It's like an obsession. You that's all you can think about after that, and that's what it was like for me when I first came across tattooing, and then realized that it was like that it could even actually be a job. Like it wasn't something that I ever thought could, like, in my mind, articulate as being a job at first. And then when I got my first tattoo, and it was just like, even walking into the tattoo studio, you could smell, like a tattoo shop's got a smell to it. It's got like a really strong smelly, like I think it would be like Dettol here, but it's like antiseptic, and it's got a strong smell, and it just takes over you, and it's like I feel it's like, I would say it's like a relationship almost. Like when you first come into contact with it, I think it either takes you and you just get obsessed and infatuated with it, and that's what's happened to me. I would say for the day I've been interested in tattooing, I suppose.
I really like that because I mean it really does, and it's almost like any profession that you go into that you are so passionate about, it honestly becomes a super hard relationship. There have been like theater people, and there have been other artists that I've met that have done artistry for years, and they give it up to go pursue something else for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And just watching the amount of like heartache, and then when they get to do their art again, it's like refining that love for somebody, and it's so I think that is like a really great analogy.
Yeah, yeah, and I think tattooing's definitely that as well. You have times where you're maybe not quite as in love with it as you first were, but then you ride through it, and then you go through spells where it's, you're kind of just riding the wave a wee bit, you're just kind of getting by with it, and then you have periods of time where you're like infatuated with it again, and it's like when you first met somebody. I suppose that's the best way to explain it. It's like that first love again, but you should treat it like a long-term relationship anyway. You should put the love into it, and it'll always pay off. It'll always pay off if you do that.
So if you don't mind me asking, what was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo, right? So it's on my right arm. It's actually kind of covered up now, to be honest with you. So it was from a band's album cover. You ever heard of a band called Muse? I don't know how big they are where you are,
Oh
but
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
oh yeah.
I know, like, sometimes when I ask people, when I say you ever heard of Muse, they're always like, "Oh, I've never heard of them." So, like, so that's why I always ask them, like, "Have you actually heard of them?" But obviously, they're like probably the biggest rock band ever that nobody's ever heard about. That's why.
Right.
So, but it was from one of their album covers. It's from an album cover called Absolution, and it was like these kind of. I'm trying to think how to explain it. It was like some kind of flying shadow dudes. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's on my arm, and it was one of my friends that done it, and it was just done so terribly. Honestly, it was so bad. And I remember going home, and I was 17 at the time, and I like, "Can you show your mum and dad?" And they're just laughing at me. They're like, "It looks like a jelly baby. It looks like a jelly baby." Yeah. So that's what it's like. And so that was me brought right back down to earth. I was like, "Well, I need to get a professional tattoo." That was it's quite a funny story now, but it's like half covered up and half no. I've still got a couple of them up the top, so it's like I don't regret it or anything. It was just like that was like the step into tattooing for me, and it went through there. But after that, I never got a. I kind of learned that you had to go somewhere decent and get it done properly. I don't trust
This
anybody. This is another thing I'll say. I don't trust anybody who's only got good tattoos. I think like but you have to have at least one bad one. It's just only fair.
I'm trying to think of my friends that have tattoos, if any of them have a bad one. And I'm gonna call them out and I'll be like, no, no, you have one. I know it's bad. I know you have one.
Yep, yep. If they say no, they're lying. I'm telling you. Do you have tattoos? That's what I was going to ask you. Is that all right to ask you questions as well?
Oh, you're welcome to. Yeah, I don't. I know what I would get if I did, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can I guess? Can I guess what you're going to get?
Absolutely guess.
Would you get something to do with your cat?
Oh, that's interesting, but no.
No. I was just a wing.
Good question.
I was just guessing. But...
She's rolling around on the floor over here. Sorry, baby, but no. She's scratched me enough. I have scars, so that's fine. That's enough.
It counts as a tattoo. It counts.
I would get a compass rose. Mm-hmm. If you know what that is, with the little.
Yep, I definitely know what they are. I do about a million.
Not everybody does. If you don't know what a compass rose is, go Google that. You'll know exactly what it is. Yeah, I've always been. It has a lot of meaning to me personally about choosing your direction in life and being on the path you want to be on, and that's part of it. So that's why.
Yep.
I don't know where I would get it. I hadn't really worked that out, which might be why I haven't gotten one yet.
Think long and hard.
Right. Yes, right. Probably not right here on my face.
No, definitely no. Definitely no. That's one thing I'll say about Americans. You know, like when I was in Vegas and in LA, I mean, a lot of people had face tattoos. It was a very big thing over there. It's starting to happen here a wee bit more. You know, like a lot of people have got their face tattooed over here, but in Vegas, everybody had their face tattooed when I was there. You know, and I was like, whoa, that's hardcore.
Yeah, where I live, I don't think I've seen a single face tattoo.
I've seen maybe like the little like teardrop under the eye or something like that, but that is like so minuscule and it almost looks like someone's beauty mark instead.
Yep.
Do you have tattoos? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I was just going to say about the teardrop one. I remember seeing a guy that had one, and it was like, you know how like a teardrop one, it's meant to represent that you've killed somebody or something. You know, like it's like a old school jailhouse tattoo. You know, and I remember seeing one, and it was like somebody had like a pizza where that one was like under the eye, and it was like they killed a pizza. You know, yeah, like it's brilliant. You know,
just proud of that.
Quite clever.
Killed a pizza.
You probably got like one of those extra large pizzas, and that was just to symbolize the fact that he ate it himself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you can eat this whole pizza, you get a free tattoo of a pizza.
Wow.
New at Domino's. If you can eat this extra large pizza by yourself in an hour, you get a free tattoo.
I feel like that's definitely something only America would do. And maybe only in Vegas.
Yeah, probably. I beg to differ. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've seen something like that. I might have seen it a long time ago, but I'm sure somebody got like a Domino's pizza logo tattoo here, and they were like going in and getting free pizzas because of it. I don't know how long that went on for. Surely it wasn't a thing, because then I think everybody maybe started doing it. So like everybody just started getting Domino's pizzas and going in and getting free pizzas. But,
wow.
It's pretty crazy. So I mean, people do really extreme things when it comes to free stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember because I used to be in fashion design, and I had a friend who was so excited about some of the things I was doing. Like I'd gone to one of the fashion weeks with my stuff, and he thought it would be a cool idea to get a tattoo of my business logo. And I was like, oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that, because what happens if my business fails? Or if something happens and I decide to change the logo? Now you have this. That, yeah, I talked him out of it, thankfully. Because I don't do that anymore.
I've had people before kind of similar in that situation where like I've done a great big body work on them, like if they get like a back piece or something like that, and they'll be like, oh, just write your write your name at the bottom, like sign it. And I'm like, no, definitely not. Like, you're not kicking about with my name on you, you know, like it's like, you know, it's bad enough you got a tattoo off me. But never mind the name underneath it. You know? Obviously joking with it, but
There was one that I saw. There's an opera singer that I follow who is in a like a relatively new work of art, and he had just performed at the Metropolitan Opera, and decided to get, I don't know what it's called, but it's like something that you see quite a bit on Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's almost like a border with like eagle wings that kind of spread out. But it's like one of the centerpieces of the show, and he got it like tattooed right across his chest, because he originated the role. He went back to do its reprise, so he felt such a love for the show. And he just got it tattooed right across his chest, and it was really well done. Very simple, but a very, very nice work of art.
yeah.
If you ask me who the performer is, I can't think of his name right now. I could have told you 5 minutes ago, but not now.
It'll come to you later, you know.
Yeah. Um, so when it comes to like doing other people's tattoos, do you prefer more of like the simple sorts of tattoos, or do you like doing more in-depth sorts of things?
That's a good question. I suppose me personally, I tried to stick a wee bit more to the foundation kind of style of tattooing. So I believe in doing like line work to make the tattoo hold up over time. So I do like doing both. I like doing really simple, really traditional tattoos. I like doing detailed small tattoos, you know, like so. I would say I do a bit of both, but I would probably line myself more with the more simplistic style stuff. You know, I feel like it ages better. I feel like it looks a lot better and is a lot more stronger over time. Like for example, if you look at like the Japanese style of tattooing, I don't know if you've ever seen that kind of work before, but you know, it's like on a big mass and it's very big, very bold, very simple, and it looks great for the ages and it's so timeless. You know, so that's probably the one thing with these like really tiny fine line tattoos that they probably won't age quite as well as you know like the traditional ones. I mean, there's probably some exceptions to that rule because there will be people who can execute it very well, and they'll be able to do it in a way where it will last throughout the years. And same with like portraits and stuff like that. You know, like I always feel like black and grey is probably better for portraits, but there's some amazing artists that can do like really good color, realistic portraits, and it's amazing. Like it's so amazing to look at, and it's very technical. It's a very technical thing to achieve with a tattoo machine and needle, and with a color palette and everything like that. It's really difficult to do that. But me personally, I'm a more like less is more kind of approach, I would say. And I've definitely noticed that. Like I've been tattooing for quite a while now, so like 14 years, 15 years coming up, I think. So like when I look back at some of my tattoos that I've done over that time span, the ones that I feel that have aged and looked the best for has been the more simplistic ones. So they definitely age a lot better through time. And that's probably the work I'm most happy with when I see it. And I feel like clients should be in it a wee bit more for the long run, you know. So like if they're going to get a tattoo of me, I want it to last and look good for as long as possible, rather than giving them a piece that they're going to need to come back and get covered up in a couple of years, you know. So I definitely try and like if somebody's wanting to do a tattoo that's like really really small and it's really detailed, and it's maybe not going to be the best option for them, I'll say, listen, like maybe you want to maybe think about making this a bit bigger because it's going to look better 10 years down the line rather than 5 years down the line, you know, because pigment underneath the skin, it ages and it bleeds out a wee bit, you know, so you don't want to do it too small that then it ends up just being like a black smudge, you know. So that's kind of the problem when you do these really tight detailed stuff. But if you open it up just a wee bit more, it's definitely better for the long term, I think.
And I like the fact that you kind of give them considerations for thinking down the road. There are some tattoo shops that friends have gone to that are just like, "Oh, that's the one you want? Okay," and they
No,
don't really
definitely.
talk it. They talk it through, and so I like that you give more of that, like that tailored sort of response to them. So, kudos to you.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like it's my responsibility as a tattooist to do that because they don't know. The clients don't know this. They only see what they see on social media and stuff like that. That's probably what most people come in with. They come in with their phones and they say, "Oh, look, I want something exactly like this." I mean, the tattoo might look all right on the phone and it's filtered through Instagram filters and all that kind of stuff, but in reality, like they don't know what it's actually going to look like 5 years down the line. Whereas we know, like tattoos, we'll know what it's going to look like down the line. So it's our job to like teach them in a way, and you don't have to be rude about it. Like I know a lot of guys that'll just be like, "Oh, I'm not doing that," like that's a rubbish idea or whatever. But it's our jobs as tattooists, I feel, and our responsibility and our duty to do that is to explain to them, right, listen, this is what you might need to consider down the line. Like, it's probably not going to look quite as good and stuff like that. So I would rather turn away a tattoo that I know is not going to age or look right than do a bad one, because the bad one is going to affect you 10 times as much as what a good one will do. You can do a good tattoo and it'll be great because everybody, like, if somebody will show it off and there'll be people that'll love it, but if you do a bad tattoo and you show somebody, you're going to get hundreds of people like say that's a bad tattoo, that's rubbish, that's this, so that can affect you just the same. So you kind of have to think about like that as well, and your reputation, I suppose. Like, people, you don't want to do a really bad tattoo and then somebody's going to say, "Oh, well, don't go to Scott's shop, he's rubbish." So it's kind of like that. You want to just make sure that you're putting the client in the right frame of mind, that they're thinking about the future.
Admittedly, I don't have any tattoos, but I would want to go to a place like that if I were going to consider one. So, Emily, to answer a question I think you asked me earlier, no, I do not have any tattoos, but I am considering one.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Let's go to Scotland
Uh-huh.
and we'll go to Scott's shop, and that's
Ooh,
where we'll
okay.
get it done.
Sounds
Ooh,
good. I'll be
okay.
happy to have yous. I'll be happy to have yous.
See,
Make it
then
happen. We'll
it
make
has a
happen.
cool story behind it too. Then
Definitely. That'd be
Uh,
good.
since I know my partner's listening, we're going to Scotland, by the way. So just we're
Merry Christmas.
Yay, Christmas. Um,
is there a season for, like, do you find that you have busy times and times in your business that it's slow? Is that a thing?
Uh, I would. I do not want to sound big-headed when I say this, but no for me. So
That's good.
at the moment, it's always been pretty busy. From when I've opened, it has always been pretty busy. I've always been booked up quite far in advance, and I'm very lucky for that. I know a lot of people that are like maybe in shops that are kind of nearer my shops and they're not booked up quite as much. But I think I'm booking at the moment for the end of April right now, so it's a good few months in advance to actually get booked in. It does depend on what you want as well. If it's something a bit smaller, I might be able to fit it in between larger appointments. But the thing is, nowadays, a lot of people are getting big work. A lot of people are getting back pieces, they're getting sleeves, they're getting leg sleeves, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of the time it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of time to make them happen, rather than the small ones. So I've always been pretty busy. I suppose if any time, it would probably be around about the now that you would maybe find quiet time. So, for example, I suppose you'll probably get like more cancellations around about this time, because some people will book their tattoos and then they realise that Christmas is coming up and that they've not got as much going on. Especially now in Britain, we've got like an energy crisis going on now as well. So all our bills are like skyrocket high, so I think a lot of people have no expected that, so there will be people that have cancelled over the last couple of weeks. I think I've maybe had like 2 cancellations or something, but I've always got people that are willing to jump in and take that space anyway. There's always somebody waiting, thankfully, and I probably get like at the minute I'm probably getting like 20 emails a day, 30 emails a day for tattoo appointments, and I can't always get to them quick enough. So a lot of the time I'll just need to say like, listen, this is the waiting time. If you're sure about getting tattooed, this will be the wait. And then it'll be the case, if they're happy to wait, they'll get back in touch and they'll come in and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm quite lucky that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've won.
you
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead,
We do
Emily.
this all the time. You've won awards though, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's for the shop, and I always say awards kind of loosely because I really don't know how I even came about winning them. So I kind of say it loosely, but it's like one of them was a. I'm just going to check it actually while I'm here. It's a Scottish Enterprise Awards, and the other one is it's dark through there. The Prestige Award or something for the shop. So it's like Tattoo Shop of the Year, and for the region, Scotland. And I'm actually not really sure how I won them, by the way, because it's basically they get in touch with you, they phone you, and then they email you and they say, oh, you can come to this event, you've won this thing, you'll get this, and you'll get like a certificate and a trophy and all this kind of stuff, and you can come and get your photos took and all this kind of stuff. And I always ask them, I'm always like, how did I win this? I never applied for it or anything like that. And it's usually down to people either nominating you to these things, or it's through their own research. So, for example, they'll look online and they'll check out like business reviews, and they'll check out, just things like that. People obviously like maybe researching and googling the shop and all that kind of stuff. So as far as I'm aware, it's like it might just be like a marketing thing, to be honest with you. I'm not actually sure. So I say awards with a pinch of salt because I'm not even sure where they came from. It wasn't like I went into a competition and won them, but I don't know. It's just one of the ones.
Well, congratulations. That sounds
It
amazing.
just sounds good, doesn't it? To say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, can I ask, what is it like? Because you mentioned you're married. So, what is it like having a family, being a tattoo artist? Um, how do those kind of like impact your work, or kind of vice versa?
Um, it's I'm very very lucky. I've got a very devoted and loving and like a relationship with my wife, and she's very understanding how it works with tattooing. Like my schedule's pretty hectic, obviously because I'm booked up for so far in advance, and I've got a son as well, so he's 3.5. So we're at the stage where it's like it's crazy and fun, So it's really good. So what I do is usually early morning. I get up pretty early. I can kind of tell you my routine if you want. That's probably the best way to maybe like see the dynamic of it. Is that all right to do that? So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably get up around about 4 a.m. Sometimes half four, like 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Then I'll go to the gym in the morning. I'll go to the gym for about an hour. I'll get ready. I'll come into my studio about 6 a.m. by the time I get here and stuff like that, because I do a bit of traveling. And what I'll do in the morning, I will answer my emails. I'll start my drawings for the day. So I'll like draw my tattoos for the appointments I'm going to have throughout the day. And I'll do just shop stuff, I'll like clean up. I'll like I say, get in touch with people. I'll order supplies. I'll phone people I need to phone, and then I'll have my breakfast at the shop around about 9. I will do consultations from 9 till 10. I start tattooing at 10 o'clock. I'll tattoo from 10 till maybe about 1. I would have my lunch at 1 o'clock, and then I would probably start tattooing again around about 2, and I'll tattoo from about 2 till 5-ish, roughly. But it can change a wee bit, like tattoos don't always take the same amount of time. Maybe sometimes it'll be a bit less. Maybe some days it'll be like a full day appointment where I start at 10, we have a half an hour lunch break at 1, and then we finish later at half 4, 5 or something, depending on the tattoo. And then I'll drive home. I'll come home, and then I will be. My wife is one of the people. Like, she's like very homely. She's very. She'll have the dinner ready. She's like she's. We've got like a kind of old school traditional relationship that way. Like I'll come home. She'll be ready. She'll make the dinner, and then we'll have a family time together. And then I'll do like bath and bed with my son, and we read stories, and that's obviously how the book kind of came into front, because we started doing like books and stuff like that at night. And then it's around about, let's just say about 8, half 8 at night, and then we maybe get like half an hour together at night, me and my wife, and we'll talk about our days, all that kind of stuff, and do stuff that we need to do in the house, and then that's it, and then it's back to bed and same again. And I do that 5 days a week. I used to, yeah, 5 days a week is what I do with that. So that's kind of my routine. But we've got a really good like home family life balance, So like on Sunday, Monday, that's my days to be at home. I can be with my son and with my wife, and then we do stuff together. And I literally don't look at my phone really at all, like Sunday to Monday. I'm very conscious of that. Even when I come through the door at night, when I finish at like, by the time I get home, it's near 6 o'clock. So as soon as I'm home at 6, my phone goes down, and my son runs to me. He's like, "Daddy, Daddy," and then that's it. It's like it's dad time, It's like dad time to go on, and That's the best bit about my day. Obviously, that's like priority, and I'm happy now because it's been so busy recently. More recently, it's been really busy because of the book and stuff like that as well. I've been obviously doing podcasts and like other stuff. I'm doing like school visits on Monday, so I've been doing 7 days a week more recently just because of that. But Christmas is coming up, and I have to make sure that like I'm taking time off. I'm taking 10 days off from Christmas, so Christmas Eve till the 3rd, and that'll be no tattooing, no book stuff, just straight, like family time. And I try to be very conscious about that. I'm like I try and really be like a really conscious parent and a conscious husband as well. Like I take everything into consideration. We're very good at communicating as a family. We all work together to make things happen and make things work, and I'm so thankful for that. And my wife's just like a boss, like she just does everything. She's insanely good at everything. So like like when I feel like I'm busy, she's always busier than me. She's always getting stuff done, and she's obviously a mum, so like being a mum is like having 2 full-time jobs anyway. So like having that, and then she works full-time as well, so she bosses it all the time, and then we work really good as a team. So that's how we make it work and make it balanced. I'm very thankful for it. I'm so thankful for my family, because that's what makes everything worthwhile. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing and trying to put the work in.
So we're going to clip that part of you calling your wife an absolute boss.
Yes.
So we'll send that to you, and we want you to show that to her. I think you'll win some husband points.
I was about to ask if she was listening or watching, because I think she should hear this. This sound, unless you tell her this all the time, this is awesome.
She knows. She's very appreciated. I tell her.
Good.
I tell her a lot, but she'll appreciate it being online, I suppose. But she will not be listening now. She's away out with my son. She's away out to do some Christmassy stuff today with him. So, but she probably will listen to it.
Yeah.
She knows it. She knows. I think she's the boss. She's like.
What's her name? Can we ask her name?
Leah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clip this and I'm gonna title it Leah. Okay.
You also mentioned, and I'm glad that you brought up your son, because I wanted you to bring up your son, and that you read stories. How can you talk to us about how the book kind of came out of your relationship with your wife and with your son?
Yeah, definitely. So like I say, when I go home at night, like it's usually like story time and bedtime with my son. Like bath, story, and bedtime. So we've always read a lot of books to him. Like ever since he's been so like very small, like since he's been like a newborn baby, we've always tried to implement books. And we really found the like rhyming books. He really enjoys them. So like Julia Donaldson, Dr. Seuss, that kind of stuff. Excuse me. And he always really enjoyed them. And for me, I was looking at these books and I was thinking, what? Like these are really good. They're really like obviously they're really simple, and I don't say that like in a like they're simple. Like they're very complex, but they're very simple stories. So if you can look into that, and I basically I wanted to emulate that. I thought maybe I could do that. That was all. That was pretty much all that happened. I thought maybe I could do that. And I would say even at school, like I was never that articulate when it came to writing or like English or anything like that. I wasn't that great at that. Obviously, I've always been creative in terms of drawing and artistry. I would say I was never really that great at English or anything like that. So there was that side of things where I thought, well, is this something that I'm actually going to be able to do? And I'm quite a big believer in like if you want to learn something and you want to do something, you have to just take the responsibility on and learn it and really and just do your best at it, right? So that's what happened. And for me, for tattooing, like obviously tattooing is very all consuming, and because obviously it just takes so many hours. It's very mentally draining. It's obviously drawing and tattooing, and it can be quite a long process doing that. So for me, like tattoos are between me and the client, so I share the tattoos with me and the client, but I wanted to share something between me and my son that would maybe last longer, like through the generations. And I mean, maybe I'm talking quite a big time sense there, but wanted something for me and him to share that was like permanent as well. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and write this book, and that's basically what I done. I had an idea for it, and I kind of rolled with it, I suppose. And I just sat down one night, and I thought, right, I'm going to try and write a story, and this is kind of what I'm thinking, and then it kind of went from there.
Do you love
And what?
Dinosaur? That was that moment where we're both going to ask a question at the same time. Do you like dinosaurs? Is that how that started, or?
Well, who doesn't like dinosaurs?
Well,
like
yeah.
I feel like that. It's very. I mean, everybody likes dinosaurs, but Miles likes dinosaurs. My son's called Miles, so he really likes dinosaurs, and yeah, I thought it was like a good thing to go for, because it's kind of gender neutral as well. Like boys like dinosaurs, girls like dinosaurs. It's not just like a boys book or something. It's like it can be fitted for most people, and it's yeah, it kind of just ended up that way. I came up with the story first before I even decided I was going to put dinosaurs into it, I suppose.
Okay.
So when I wrote the story, I wrote it over like 2 nights, and I was like, right, this is kind of well, the basis of it over 2 nights, and obviously went back to change some of the words over time and kind of move things about to make it fit better. But the actual picturing what the animal was or whatever like that, at first I didn't really know that until later, and then it came to me when I started drawing, and it just kind of came to me that way.
And you drew everything for the book as well.
Yeah. It'd be weird, right? Like if I wrote a book and didn't do the drawings.
Right.
It'd be a cop out, right?
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
It is an adorable looking book. I have it up on Amazon right now, and you can see the cover is colorful and fun, and I love bees, and there's a bee. Oh, there's 2 bees. I'm sorry, I can't count. I couldn't concentrate much in school either, so.
Yeah. Well, that's probably part of that as well. So the book has definitely got a wee bit of my truth in it, So like I would say that the book, it's obviously not about me, like I'm not Diego or anything like that, but it's sort of semi-autobiographical, So I would say like there's definitely a wee bit of myself in the book, which I think anybody does. If you're an artist, that's what you do. You put a wee bit of yourself into that, and I feel like the story in the book is kind of about that. It's about not being able to concentrate on anything, and you're just thinking about the one thing. And that, I suppose, that's how I was with tattooing and stuff like that. So I'm kind of trying to teach that truth and share it with kids, and that's all right. That's an all right thing to do.
I want to take just a second to read one of the reviews for the book. So this was posted on Amazon, which just as a reminder to our listeners that you can go pick up your copy of Diego the Doodling Dinosaur on Amazon, wherever you get your books from. This review says, there are so many positive things to say about the book. It's a heartwarming moral message of being true to yourself. A fun and engaging storyline, fantastic illustration. Do yourself a favor, buy this book for your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, any child in your life, and they will be hooked. We need to see more adventures from Diego in the future.
That's really nice.
The feedback's been amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you have, at least on the, I don't know if it's different for the UK version of Amazon, but for the US Amazon, you have all 5-star ratings. There isn't a single one that's less than that, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. With that, and it's been amazing to see everybody's reaction to this, because when I originally came up with the idea about doing this, it was obviously just to share it with my son. It wasn't really like, I mean, obviously if people were going to like it, then that's fine, but I didn't realize how great the response would be, especially from like my community and stuff like that. Like everybody got really on board with it. They shared it. They bought the book, and they've all left reviews and stuff like that. So it's been amazing to see how much people have actually really enjoyed it. And especially with these school visits I've been doing as well, I've kind of been obviously going around like local schools and stuff like that, and doing like readings to the kids, and it's been amazing. It's been so good to go in and see them, like their faces light up when they see Diego and they're going, Diego, like, and when I read the story to them as well, they are like repeating the words back to me, like right away. And it's pretty amazing. I'm getting it a wee bit, like, I've got a lump in my throat thinking about it,
Yeah.
in a way, because it's quite a big thing that, to have that type of feedback.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what it's for. It's for kids to relate to and understand it, and even like some of the teachers in the school, like, oh, it's very well written and stuff like that. And it's nice to get a bit of encouragement back, because I feel like a lot of people just don't get encouragement, So it's been nice to get that feedback, especially from teachers, from the kids in the class, and stuff like that. And it's amazing. It's just it makes me feel so blessed to have that kind of feedback for something, especially because it's my first rodeo, really. It's my first book. It's not something that, it's not like I've done this for years. It's like literally my first one. So yeah, hopefully I can. This is like, the way I was looking at it was like, this book's kind of like the lesson book. You do this one and you learn from it, and then go to the next one and do it better, and like learn for that, and try and see where you can go for there. I can definitely see like a lot of my mistakes in this book that I've made. Like, just personally, I can see wee bits, that like I'm like, oh, I would probably change that, or I would do this, and like so you just keep learning from it, and the feedback's obviously good as well, because then you get the feedback and you go, right, well, this is maybe what they liked about it, so I can maybe try and implement that to the next book.
That reminds me of the conversation we had just a week ago with Brooke Shaden, and she is writing a book. Well, she finished a book and has re-edited it, 9 times now, before she will even put it in front of a publisher or anything like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know if it's ready. And then she's being told, it's ready. And she's like, I don't know, I'm going to rewrite it again. So I understand that you can probably end up doing that infinitely if you keep rehashing over and over. I'm glad that you released this to the world as it is, though. And I really think we need this is something. I have a lot of thoughts all at once. I'm sorry. It is so amazing and so important that you have been able to touch young lives with the message this book has. That it's okay to doodle. It's okay to jump into art. It's okay to find your joy. And I love that about it. And I think if there are many kids out there that don't necessarily get that message, whether it's at home or at school or whatever their situation is. And I love that your book introduces that. I think that's
Thank
amazing.
you so much. That's really kind to say. I really appreciate that. It's amazing. I think I think you've kind of hit it there for me as well. It's like, it's good to get that message out there, because a lot of people, like they probably think it's a bad thing. They probably think it's a bad thing that they're maybe only concentrating on one thing, or they can't do it, or anything like that. I just wanted to show people that, you can turn anything into what you want it to be, as long as you're going to work hard and, like, put your heart in it, because that's what the book's about. It's about following your heart and following what's true to you, and see where you go with it, and it's all down to you. It is all down to you, and that's what I wanted. I wanted that truth to be told, in a sense, and it's been nice to be able to do it in a way where it's going to relate to a lot of people, because I feel anybody can, like, not even just kids, like, I've even had that. I've had like people that have bought the book, and they've been adults, they've not even had any kids, and they're sending me photos of them like crying, reading it. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, it's just, even that, that's an amazing thing to see. And it's like, oh, I can relate to this so much, like, and I've had people say that, like, that's what I'm like, and like, I was always like that at school, and to hear that, to know that, obviously, because I felt like that at school. So it's nice to see that it can kind of bring everybody together, and they can relate to that.
Absolutely. There's a little poem that Diego says, and it's I don't want to put you on the spot to because I don't know if you have it memorized.
I can do it.
Can you? Okay, yeah, do it.
Right, so let me think. It's, I can't help but doodle. It's hard to stop once I start. It's the never-ending happiness I feel inside my heart. Is that right?
I love it. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
That's the one. I was hoping it was the right one, because he says a lot in it. But yeah. So that's kind of that's repeated throughout the book, you know. So it's he's obviously in different like scenarios throughout the book, and it's kind of like, you know, people are like, oh, Diego, you know, what you doing, you know, and then he kind of always says that throughout the book, and it's, you know, it's just to say, listen, like, this is me, I'm happy, I'm doing this, this is what it's all about, and you know, I'll not spoil the book by telling you what happens in it. You'll need to buy
Right. No, you got to read it.
it. But but yeah, it's like I feel like what you said as well. It's got a nice moral to the story.
An important one too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really believe that.
yeah, it's brilliant.
You talked about how like adults can still read children's books, and um, there's been kind of a common commentary that we've had throughout this podcast of when we get to be adults, sometimes like our imagination and our sense of just this love of play just kind of goes out the window. And having things like this, I think, validates us as adults. We're out at a Renaissance festival, probably back in October, and found a book about a little owl knight. And it's just a story about a little owl who dreams of becoming a knight, and that is his passion, that is his truth. And not going to spoil anything, but just it's his cycle of finding out about himself and making that dream come true. And my partner and I looked at this book and we were first just in love with how it looked. And then as we started to read the book, it just got cuter and cuter and cuter and cuter. And at the very end, we were both not sobbing, but almost brought to tears by it. So we just closed the book, didn't look at the price, put it on the counter and said, we'll take it. So, so it's,
Sounds like a good book.
it really is. But it was intended for kids, but it gave us a lot of validation. So I think that we need more of this. And this leads into my question to you. When's the next book?
Oh.
So that's the question I keep getting asked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when's the next one? When are you doing your next one? You know, and I suppose I'm still riding the wave of this one because it's no long out. You know, so I have got ideas for the next one. I've already kind of, like, even before this one came out, I already had stuff written down for the next one. So that's just the way I work. Like, I'm like always thinking about the next thing, which I think that's how we all are. You know, we're always thinking of the next thing, because when you reach a goal, it's like you kind of picture it as being this moment of like feeling happy and all that kind of stuff, but like it's definitely like a fleeting thing. Actually, the joy in it is the journey towards that goal, right? So once you reach that goal, you're just going to be thinking about the next thing. It's like when you get to the top of the hill, you're looking for a bigger hill to go up after it. It's just the way it is. So for me, there will be, I think there'll be a next book anyway. You know, like I feel like people want it. I feel already, you know, like a lot of people are asking me, they're like, when are you going to do it? It took me about 8 months to write the last one, so I would probably need that and maybe even a wee bit more time for the next one, because you want the second one to be even better. And I'm going to try and make as much time for it as I can, depending on how things go, family life and shop life and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously tattooing is still my first and foremost. You know, that's
Sure.
how I make a living and stuff like that. The book was obviously just a hobby that got out of control. But yeah, I can definitely see myself doing it. I've really loved the process of it. I've really loved that everybody's took so well to it. I loved making it. I really enjoyed making it, and I feel that there will be a next one on the cards. Who knows when though? You know, like I think I need to see. I think maybe just another couple months need to go by, and then I can actually make time and say, right, this is when I'm going to do it. You know, I'm kind of like a structure kind of guy. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it every day. So I will need to make time for it every day. So once maybe Christmas is out the road and not the kind of hype of this book's done, then we'll probably sit down and just go for it again. I don't know if it'll be a sequel or anything like that either. Sorry, I know you're going to say
That's
something.
okay.
But like people keep asking, they're like, "Oh, you're going to do like a second Diego book? You know, you're going to do like a series, or are you going to do like another book that's different altogether?" So, like I say, not to spoil this book, but I feel like I don't know if I could do that, because it kind of finishes in a certain way with Diego at the end of this book. So I feel like if I could try really hard and figure out some kind of way to do it, I probably could, but I don't know if I will do that. I think I might go a total different way and maybe do another character, another, because the moral for the next one's quite a good one as well. I feel that, like, the idea that I've got, but I feel it maybe need just a fresh character for it. So I think it'll, yeah, we'll see.
Honestly, whatever you need to do to make it done right, the way that you feel it needs to be done, is the best. I believe, anyway. People will wait. They will wait for the great content you're creating.
I hope so. I feel like because I've done this one now, I've I can kind of see where my mistakes were the first time. Like what you were talking about with that other woman you had on the podcast. I can't remember her name, sorry, but you said that she rewrote it so many times.
Brooke, yeah.
And that's exactly what it was like, illustrating and writing the book. Yeah, Brooke, yeah. So it's the same with me. Even though it's a children's picture book, you know, it's only like 30. I think mine's is 34 pages. I think the standard's around about 32, but just say 34 plus the front and back cover, right? But because it's a book that's in such short form, it still has to be, like, every word matters. Every single word matters in that book, and every page and every illustration matters to the, like, even what's in the background totally matters, right? So to go back into a second one, it's like I've probably learned the lessons for the first one. So I feel like it maybe wouldn't take me quite as long to make a second one. But I don't want to give myself that pressure. I wouldn't give it a time, you know. I would say, like, this is just when I'm going to work on it, and this is, you know, we'll just see where it goes from there, and hopefully it's good enough by the time it comes about.
I think if they'll wait for George R.R. Martin, they will wait for you. if you catch that reference.
No. Yeah, I catch the reference. Yep, I catch the reference, definitely. George R.R. Martin. I'm not in his league yet. I can definitely tell you that. But
well, no, but your message might. I shouldn't say this because one day we might end up with George R.R. Martin on the podcast. This is the part I cut out. I think your message is more important than his.
I'll take that. I'm going to write that. I'm going to write that in the review.
Yeah. I'm going to cut this out so George can't hear it. He's never going to listen to this podcast. George, if you're out there.
Just bleep out his name. Just bleep out his name.
Bleep.
You know, he'll know. Just bleep out his name.
George R. It'll be bleep R bleep.
So
he'll be like, I have no idea who that is.
So I am actually in the process of ordering the book. So whenever I get it and I get that Amazon, would you like to leave feedback? I will put that in the feedback comment.
You should have said. I would have just sent you one. I'll send you one.
Well,
You don't have to buy it. I'll send you one.
I appreciate that. I would like you to get the proceeds from this. So please, it is my absolute pleasure to do this.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Yeah, we believe in.
I'll do your tattoo for free when you come over, right? Here's a deal.
That's
Done.
huge. We just have to get our butts to Scotland.
But
Okay.
you have to get a Diego tattoo. So.
Yes.
Oh. You
See,
know what?
at least you didn't say you have to get one like on your butt or something.
You know what?
No.
That's a deal. That is a deal.
That's a deal.
When I go to Scotland, I will get a Diego tattoo.
I'll hold you to it.
We have this recorded now.
I know. There's the proof.
I am the man of my word, and I feel like Emily's about to clip this and send it to me repeatedly.
Oh, I'm glad you reminded me to clip it. Thank you.
Why do I do this to myself?
Love it.
But,
That's brilliant. Yeah. The clips go on our TikTok account. But if you want, I'll send you the links to them so you'll have them.
Yeah. Cool.
That's wonderful. Trey is getting. I'm going to title it Trey is getting. Oh, I can't spell. There we go. A Diego Dinosaur tat from Scott.
And when someone asks me the meaning of it, I'll just respond with, "Well, the message is more important than George R. R. Martin."
I mean, really. Just like a fuzz in the air. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
It's a little more
I
meaningful
like that.
than
I like that.
a little dragon tattoo or something. I not to diss anybody's tattoos, because I don't want to do that either. So have you read the book to your son? I mean, I imagine you have. You know.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I mean, he loves Dago. I got him like a Dago plushie made. Have I got it? No, I've not actually got it here to show you, but it's like a plushie toy kind of thing.
Awesome.
And I remember like coming home once we got the proof copies read, and we read it, and he was loving it right away, you know. And it was fun because when I gave him the plushie toy, and because he had read the book before the plushie toy came, he was like playing with the toy, and he was like, I'm doodling, you know. And it was great because it was like a total moment, you know. I was like, well, my job's done, you know. Like, I'm happy if he's happy and he enjoys it. It doesn't matter if everybody hates it. You know?
Right.
As long as Miles likes it, that's who it was for. So the book's obviously dedicated to him because, you know, it's I don't think this would have ever came about if I didn't have a kid.
Sure.
So, like, a lot's changed in my life since having a kid, and obviously it gives you different aspirations to do different things. So, but yeah, he loves it, thankfully.
That's awesome. Yeah, of course he does.
Then I would have been like, oh no.
That is so great. I love it. I love it. Are you having more plushies made for kids, or is that part of your idea at all? Or just the one?
Well, yeah, I got just the one made now, and I've had a lot of people ask, you know, they're like, when can we get the plushies, you know, like, and I've had a lot of emails and messages about it, like saying like, oh, can I order the book with the plushie? Can I come in and collect it and all this stuff, you know? But the problem is, like, I got the plushie custom made, so it was really expensive, you know, like it was a lot. So the problem is with to get it manufactured on like a large scale, it would be so much money, and it's something that like I can't, like, the problem that I'm having right now is that it's just me that's like marking it. It's me that's dealing with all the promotion, all that kind of stuff. Because I'm self-published. If I had a traditional publisher that would want to take the book on, then it would probably be a bit different because they could go down the route of that. You know, they could go down the manufacturing routes and sell these with the books and stuff like that. So that's the path I'm hoping to go down eventually. Like, is hopefully maybe try and get a traditional publisher on board to then manufacture all that kind of stuff. If the book was successful enough, obviously it's still early days, you know. I feel like that's what I've got now. I feel like I've got a marketing problem rather than a product problem, because I feel the product's good. So like, it's now trying to get it in front of people who haven't seen it, I suppose. I think that's the hardest bit. And for the plushies, definitely, there's been a lot of people ask for them, but I'm always disappointing them. I'm like, oh, there's only one, you know. But like, if I get to that stage, I'll let you know. And I've kind of just took like a list of people that wanted to get them. So then if they ever, you know, if I ever get to that stage, I'd be, oh, look, the plushies are available now. But I don't know, we'll see. That'd be amazing though.
I think that your book is evergreen enough to warrant that being something that could come down the road easily enough. Because if you look at like the Arnold Lobel series, The Frog and Toad, I don't know if you've heard of that one. The Frog and Toad Are Friends and Frog and Toad All Year. Those books were written decades ago, and they still have plushies coming out of those characters. So yeah. I think even if you didn't rush to something like that, your book is in that kind of similar vein. It can be a timeless story that has a great message that it doesn't age. So I think you're safe on that one. But definitely, if you ever do a plushie, I will get one.
Brilliant. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. We'll
Fingers watch crossed. For that. I was purposely keeping my mouth closed so it didn't look like I was about to ask a question. I was like,
so when we talk about like this book, it's very clear that you were inspired by like other works. Can I ask what books inspired you?
When it so there's books that have inspired me as a person to that I would say that I could talk about. But in terms of like the children's writing books, it's probably people like Julia Donaldson. I would say she's probably the main influence. So that's I don't know if you've ever heard of the Gruffalo. You ever heard of that?
Mm,
Or Stickman or anything like that?
yeah,
You never heard of that? I mean, it's really big here, but I'm sure I'm sure it's been like I'm sure it's like worldwide available. So um,
the Gruffle.
I'd
Yeah,
probably say yeah, the Gruffalo. Yeah, it's like it's quite a famous one. It's been made into like a film and stuff like that as well. So, and Dr. Seuss's books, like the Grinch and stuff like that, we love that because it's very rhymey, and it's just written really well. So I would say those are the books that have inspired me the most when it comes to writing a children's book. Anyway, yeah,
What about you as a person?
yeah. So there's there's probably like four books I would say that's inspired me as a person. Like that I would say have all been really life changing to me in terms of how my life works now. So in terms of like my discipline, my routine, my exercise, just my lifestyle and stuff like that. I feel like I've got like four books probably roughly that I would say has been life changing. So that, if you want, I can tell you about them if you want.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
please.
So one of them would be it's a book by Mike Matthews. It's called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. So it's basically just like a fitness book, I suppose. Really, it's like about how to like how to diet properly, how to train properly, and all that kind of stuff. Like how to exercise basically, but no, not just about exercise. It's about um, the mental side of getting fit and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not like a professional athlete or anything like that, but I feel it's about the discipline of exercise and stuff like that. And I would say that's one of the books that's influenced me a lot, just in terms of like going to the gym and stuff like that. I feel like it's quite an important thing about food and like your relationship with food and the mental side of keeping fit and the mental side of dieting and all this kind of stuff, because a lot of fitness stuff probably doesn't really cover that, like especially the mental side of things. So I would say that book's really helped. And obviously, I mean, I'll just say as well, like tattooing's obviously been a big help to me to because I speak to so many people. You get so much different advice for people. You meet people for all different walks of life. You meet people that like that work. Like just at the shop around the corner for you, and then you get people who are like doctors, priests, like you name it, like all different types of people. So I would say that's influenced me a lot as well. But there was another book that I'd read years ago, and it was by a guy called Neil Strauss, and it was called The Uncomfortable Truth About Relationships. So you can imagine that, like, when you read that book, it was like it kind of gave you an insight to how people were, I suppose. So that
Sure.
book was quite funny. It's actually like it's almost like an autobiography about him. So he is all right to like kind of explain about the books. Is that all right to kind
Yeah,
of talk
go
about
for it.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Right, cool. So he basically at the start of the book he goes into rehab because he cheated on his girlfriend apparently, right? So he was going into rehab, like self-admitting he's selling to rehab, and he goes into rehab and he meets these group of people that are all there for all different types of reasons, but most of them are there for like cheating on their girlfriends and stuff like that. So he goes into rehab and then he starts talking to the clinical psychologist about like his relationships with him and his parents when they were younger and stuff like that. And it comes to like all these realizations about how he's been brought up and about childhood trauma and all this kind of stuff. And that was a really interesting book because it kind of made me realize that a lot of us are just traumatized children. Like, so it kind of gave me an insight to how people are, and it's made me look at life through a different lens. It's made me realize that we're acting out all this stuff throughout our lives, like because a childhood trauma a lot of the time, and it's unresolved stuff that we need to figure out and that we need to like look into, and the book kind of goes into that. It's actually more about his journey. It doesn't really go too much into the reasons why. I would say the next book that I would probably say goes more into the reasons why, and it's a book called Hold On to Your Kids by Gabor Mate. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's been on a lot of like different podcasts and stuff like with Russell Brand and Joe Rogan and people
Okay.
like that. If you listen to that, but he's a really great guy. So he's a clinical psychologist for Canada as well, for Toronto. I think it's Toronto. Might not be Toronto, but anyway, he done a book called Hold On to Your Kids. He's done a bunch of books, but the one Hold On to Your Kids is all about childhood trauma and all this kind of stuff. So I feel that like reading that type of book has kind of made the relationships in my life, I would say better, but also it's made me a better parent. You know, I became aware of like how to respond to my child and like how to respond to certain things. Like it's taught me so much in terms of that. So that book as well, and just a lot of his stuff in general is really good advice. He talks a lot about like ADHD. He talks about addiction, all this kind of stuff. Luckily enough, I've never really been affected by any of that stuff, but all of his stuff's really interesting. I feel that's helped me as a person kind of get stuff in line for me, and it's gave me a lot to look at. And one last book I would probably say is, well, you've probably heard of this guy. Do you know who Jordan Peterson is? You wouldn't have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
You heard of Jordan Peterson? Yeah. Yeah. So he's kind of controversial, I suppose. A lot of people think he's controversial, but his actual book's really, really good. 12 Rules for Life, it's called. And it's just about taking responsibility for yourself and, you know, like figuring out how to go forth in your life and make it meaningful, you know. So that's a really good book as well that I would recommend. And I'll not go too much into that one, you know, because if you want to check it out, you can check it out. But like a lot of people didn't like him for some reason. I don't know why, but like a lot of people don't like him. But he's definitely one as well. He's probably been like the biggest inspiration in my life in terms of like how to figure out how to live my life. And no, because you know, like in life, like a lot of people say like, oh well, you should just chase happiness and be happy and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a fleeting feeling, happiness, you know. So he talks about like finding meaning and structure in your life to make life worthwhile, because it's all about order and chaos in life, you know, because you get good times, you get bad times. It's like you need to be the type of person who's responsible for you and for other people, like your family, your friends, your community, all that kind of stuff. So he talks about all that, and I always thought that was a really good book to kind of recommend to people about getting, I suppose, like try to get your life together in a way. And I feel like these are just books that have helped me. So I'll just touch on that a wee bit, because I feel like if anybody takes any of their books and they take it into their lives, I feel like it'll only benefit them in every way possible, and it's helped me a lot. And obviously books are very personally, I mean, it might not be for everybody, but they're the ones that probably changed the way I've looked at like life in general, and I feel like they've helped me be the person that I've kind of came to be, I suppose.
Well, and I think it says something that you cared enough to read books about becoming better or being better in any area of your life. Yeah. That's very wise and pretty commendable, I think.
Thank you. Definitely. I feel like it's something that a lot of people could implement in their lives. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be books, you know, as such, because like we live in a very fast modern age, right? So look at like what we're doing now, like we're doing a podcast. So you can always listen to podcasts, or you can listen to audiobooks. It's like very quick and instant. It's a lot quicker than reading a book, right?
Yeah.
So you could always go down that route. I've learned a lot for stuff like that as well. Yeah.
Sorry, my cat is being the worst. I had to mute my mic a bunch of times because she is just yelling. Come here, baby. I even threw extra treats out there because I was like, please just be quiet. I can't ask a question because I didn't want to unmute the mic. You're terrible today. It's probably because of the time of day. Usually we record, well, at night here. And she's not used to this.
That's totally my fault. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
To do it earlier than normal.
It's okay. No, I think it was great to be able to at least do this. It was important to be able to connect at a reasonable hour.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate it, because I think it would have been, like 2 a.m. in the morning for me, and there's just no way, you know? It just would have been too hard.
I don't want to do that to anybody, so...
No, I appreciate it.
Right. In fact, you're our first international guest. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you for having me. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to make it. The reason is because I wasn't sure about the time difference and how that would affect everybody. So I have some friends in the UK that are artists that I was going to ask to be on, but I didn't because I thought, oh, they're going to hate the time thing. But then I don't know why it never occurred. Like, we could just record Sunday. So.
Just one of these things. Now No, you can ask them now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. This was hoping to break the ice and see how this worked for both of us.
This is the
And
tester.
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, I do want to quickly ask, like, what plans you have maybe for the future, either for your tattoo shop. You've talked a little bit about your ideas that you've got coming up for books or for your personal life. What are some things upcoming in the future?
So I suppose I'm one of these people that I want to improve in all realms. I suppose a human endeavor. I want to be better at everything. I want to be better at tattooing. I want to be a better husband, a better father, better at writing books and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, I think this
That
year
was
it's
that
about
was
just
me
being better.
clapping. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I want to just be better as a person. I want to learn more. I want to learn more as well. I suppose that's how it wants to be. And definitely, I think being a just making yourself better in all aspects is probably the way to go forward. I think for me. So that's my future plans, to just keep self improving and what I do. And I think that's all you can do really. There is some plans. I would obviously like to do more books, and I think I'm going to maybe see how that route goes. Um, but yeah, that's probably the future plans. I would say just get better in all realms of human endeavor. I think that's a good way to say
That's wonderful.
I,
Yeah, that's amazing.
it.
I don't think anyone
um,
has come on here and said that, but I love it. No, that's great.
I'm gonna be honest. I think I stole it from somebody, but I can't remember who it says it now. I probably stole it from somebody. It's not an original idea, but
No, it's still an excellent one.
I'll take it.
Do you have, if someone were to come to you for advice, let's say they want to get into artistry, tattooing, or something like that, what do you have any advice for somebody who wants to dive into an art form like that?
I would say seek guidance if you can. It's something that I didn't have. I didn't have the same kind of guidance as what a lot of people are that have now. That was probably my mistake the first couple of years, just kind of doing it myself and not really knowing what I was doing. So I would definitely say if you can get an apprenticeship and go into shops and do all that stuff, as much as I am a self-taught artist, that's one of the things that like almost when I first started tattooing, I had like that thing it's called like imposter syndrome. Like I didn't really feel like a tattooist. I felt a wee bit like not worthy or something because I didn't do it like the traditional way of doing it. But then, like later on, I kind of found out that when I started speaking and getting tattooed from all these other tattooists that I thought were in the position where they were apprentices and stuff like that, you kind of find out a lot of them learned in the jail, or a lot of them, done it in the back of their huts. Like it really, you end up finding out that like a lot of people didn't actually go that route through the traditional apprenticeship approach. And I was one of the people, and I had imposter syndrome. I probably still have it a wee bit, like I still have a wee bit imposter syndrome about it. But I kind of started realizing that through the years. So that would probably be my biggest advice is like, if you really can get an apprenticeship, but if you really want to do it, like this might be controversial if other tattoos are listening, but don't let it stop you. Like you need to figure out some kind of way to make it happen for yourself. And I feel like you owe that to yourself, no matter what. But that's definitely the best way. So I would say seek guidance and advice that way. Go into shops and get tattooed. Get tattooed. That's probably the main one as well. Get tattooed of somebody that you like and that that you feel that is going to, maybe be able to give you some kind of opportunity or some insight into how to get it. And even if they're not the person to train you or anything like that, like start by getting tattooed. You have to get tattooed. It's one of these things where like you don't see tattooists. Like if you've seen a tattooist with no tattoos, I wouldn't trust somebody with no tattoos. So I think it's important for you to get tattooed as a person and try and get as much as you can and like learn that way as well. And seek that guidance if you can, because that's the best way. That's probably
and
my advice to it.
and definitely get Diego the Doodling Dinosaur as your first tattoo.
Of course, of course.
That's right.
Uh,
If
so-
anybody
Somebody here is. So
if anybody out there does get a Diego dinosaur tattoo, please contact us and or Scott so that we want to see this. And I know Scott
we
would
can
want
make
to
it
see
happen.
it. Yeah.
oh, definitely, we can make it happen.
I think I've actually planned out where I'm going to put it.
You've been thinking.
So I have actually been thinking about it. So I'm
I love
thinking
it.
about making it like maybe about 4 inches tall, and I would actually like to put it on my right thigh.
Good placement.
Yep.
That'll work.
Cool.
We'll make it 7 inches though. We'll make it bigger because it'll last better.
Perfect.
I'm only kidding. I can
He's
do
like,
4 inches.
it needs to be 3 feet taller. It won't last, Trey.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It needs to go on
See?
my back, and it
That's
needs
it.
to be the entire length of my back.
He's
A
also
Diego the back piece. You know.
right. Trey's very tall, so that might work.
Yeah. A 4 feet one. Right on the back. Perfect.
It'll just be like line art going across my back, so when I'm standing like perfectly standing still, you can like make out the entire image.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to put you on the spot, but I would kind of like to ask you just a couple of rapid fire questions. Would you indulge us for just a minute or so?
Of course. I'll try my
Okay.
best anyway.
Cool. So lightning round, go with your first answer.
No pressure.
No pressure. Breathe.
Okay.
Shake it out. Who is one person, alive or dead, that you would love to sit and have lunch with?
John Peterson.
Let's see. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever been given?
Oh,
Hello, Twitch.
don't chase happiness.
Welcome to another week of Kings
Um,
of War. Jacob,
like
you want
that.
to do the plug this time?
If
No.
you had an
Okay.
apprentice in your tattoo shop right now, what piece of advice would you give them right now?
Oh, you got good questions, man. You got good questions. Best piece of advice. That's a hard one for me because I've never been an apprentice, and I feel it's very specific. One piece of advice is draw. Draw. That's what I would say. Draw.
Okay. And my last one is going to be, oh God, I was trying to come up with one because I'd written like a whole bunch of questions.
Favorite movie?
Yes.
I've got two. Can I give you the two?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So one of them's Fight Club.
Oh,
I love Fight
yeah.
Club. And Stand By Me. I love Stand By Me.
That's a
Two
good one,
amazing
too.
films. Yeah.
Good
Two
choices.
totally different films, but yeah. Fight Club and Stand By Me.
Okay. I have one last question. What is one misconception about Scotland that you would like people to know about before they visit?
I was going to
Oh,
ask.
that's a good one, eh?
good.
One misconception. One misconception. That's a good one as well. That we all eat haggis.
I was going to say that if you didn't come up with something. That haggis is just around all the time everywhere.
Exactly. Honestly, anybody haggis. Like, oh man, that's what you get when you're Scottish. Haggis.
Do you like haggis?
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm
But
more a steak and kind of guy.
When we go to Scotland, Trey, we'll have to have like the full Scottish breakfast. And it has blood pudding too. And
Yeah.
blood pudding, in my opinion, blood pudding will make you like haggis because haggis really is that much better than blood pudding.
Oh,
But I don't really
no,
love
man.
either one.
You were
I'm
putting
not. That's what I was going to say. I'm not a breakfast guy. Ugh.
See, you are both putting words together that I understand separately, but the fact that you're talking about them combined, I am-
Blood and pudding?
yes, I'm sure is not what I think it is, or not
No.
what it sounds like. So that's a little bit of culture research for Trey.
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't want to know, man. You don't want to know.
It's better. It's better that way.
No.
What? Oh,
Everybody in Scotland, they'll be hating me right now. They'll be saying, "Oh, you're not even a true Scotsman if you eat haggis."
You don't even like haggis. Oh, also maybe the other misconception I could think of was that everybody walks around in a kilt all the time. 'Cause that also doesn't
That's
happen.
definitely a big one. Yeah, that does not happen. Not in this weather either. I'm telling you that.
Oh,
The sun came around and it's like, I have to lean back.
The only time everybody wears kilts is at weddings. You know, everybody wears them at weddings normally. So that's it.
Yeah. What is something that when you stepped off the plane sometime when you got to America, what is something you were surprised to find out that wasn't how you thought it was here?
Oh, so when I went to Vegas, I would say it was the hotels. You know, so when I think of a hotel here in Scotland, it's a total different conception of what a hotel is in Vegas. You know, in Vegas, it's like a town inside a building. You know, so the hotels that are here are actually just hotels. They've got rooms that you sleep in. A hotel in Vegas is not a hotel. It's like, you know, it's just a totally different thing. And when I went to LA, it was the sheer scale of how big it was. You know, like people are like, "Oh, LA is big." I really didn't know how big it was. It was ridiculously big, like to the point where I couldn't even get about properly. You know, because it was just too big. You know, that's probably the two things I would say.
That's one thing about Vegas too, is just getting about properly at all is difficult because it is so big. Yeah, you're right about that.
well, Scott, I do want to just thank you. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for being on with us and for sharing not only your life, but also your passion through Diego the Doodling Dinosaur. If I haven't said it enough, this was an absolute pleasure.
Oh, thank you. No, honestly, it's pleasure's all mine. I've really enjoyed myself. It's been fun, and you guys have made it really engaging and fun. You know, it's been great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
For our listeners again, if you want to go pick up, go to Amazon or wherever you can get your local books, and pick up your copy of Diego the Doodling Dinosaur. As we close out our podcast here tonight, or today, I'm still not have it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, our supporters, subscribers, and moderator Josh. This episode, along with probably every other episode, always and forever, is in memory of Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, critic, encourager, and great friend. Find us wherever you can tune into podcasts for updates, announcements, and to see photos of when I finally get this tattoo in Scotland. Please follow us on social media under Modern Romantic. Thank you, everybody. Have a doodle-tastic day.
That's right. Don't forget to be Diego.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.